Karl Jacobs without a doubt has one of the most interesting arcs on the entire Dream SMP. Most famous for his Tales of the SMP series, Konoko Kingdom seems to be left behind, and it makes perfect sense considering it can be very confusing at times, which is why I'm going to summarize the entire plot of Konoko Kingdom, from the first block placed to present day, and I made sure to pick out all of the most important information that you need to know for the future of the Dream SMP. Also, only 4% of you guys are subscribed, so please consider subscribing. It helps out way more than you know, and you can always change your mind. Okay, thank you. Let's begin. The first ever stream was on February 8th. Taking place right after the Tales of the SMP Royal Gathering episode, when Karl decided he wanted to move his library. This library not only consisted of his very important Tales books, but it also substituted for his library and his home, so he was quickly running out of space. Karl also thought this place was hideous, and I don't blame him. Compared to Konoko Kingdom, it makes his old library look like a block of dirt. Karl recruits Sapnap and George Not Found to help him move all his chests, and they quickly begin their travels. They pass Spawn, only stopping to do a blessing session, and they continue running to the new land, passing by Alyssa's barn, which soon becomes their mushroom barn for the new kingdom, and it's not what it sounds like. Karl scouts a flower forest biome in the distance, and the building commences. The first ever build in Konoko Kingdom being the Dockus Squid Lagoon, built by George. It doesn't lead anywhere, but we're just gonna let him be. And because this land is now official, Karl creates the first ever law.
If you pick up a flower, you have to place it down somewhere else.
And so far it hasn't been broken, but it's only a matter of time. Then the rules are given out. Sapnap is a tough guy, George is the builder, and Karl doesn't really have a role yet. And it makes perfect sense considering Konoko Kingdom isn't actually a kingdom, because it has no ruler. Instead, it's ruled by the people, so Karl is just known as one of the founders, remaining roleless for now. The second build was then made, being the infamous nether portal that never teleports people to the right area. This is due to its close proximity to both Spawn and Nikki's underground base, but this inefficiency hasn't stopped them from keeping it. The first main conflict also starts, the conflict of George's missing Yeezys. George continuously insists he was killed in the Holy Land by Captain Puffy and Callahan, and he never got them back since then. But Sapnap always denies this, starting a forever-lasting argument between the two founders of Konoko Kingdom. They begin building, following by the famous Mushroom brand, and even placing some mascots for the new nation. Beckerson and Mars, the first ever pets of the Dream SMP, now living in a small pond beside the nether portal. Then, the name. The name Konoko Kingdom didn't originate very quickly. It was actually a very slow process. Pharaoh Fields was the original name given, but soon trashed because it wasn't professional enough for the growing kingdom. There were many more names brought into question, like Shroomvale, Pharaoh Federation, Mushroom Falls, but they soon settled on Pulu Pulu or Konoko Kingdom. Polls were then ran. Konoko Kingdom winning by 20% divide and even trending #1 on Twitter, but Karl still refuses, continuously pushing Pulu Pulu as a name for the new nation, though he soon became aware of the background behind his favorite name and switched to the clear winner, Konoko Kingdom. And fun fact, Konoko Kingdom was actually brought up by George when he was translating mushroom into Japanese, instead of actually helping build anything. Speaking of building, Karl wasn't very happy with the results of the library, so he invited Bad Boy Halo to help, and he let him take over the building, even inviting him to join Konoko Kingdom, though it isn't clear if he decided to in the end. Once the building came to a halt, they decided it would be best to promote the new nation, since at the time it only consisted of 3 members, and Karl's main goal was to make everyone in the server join. I mean, dream big, but maybe not that big. They gather the resources and leave to advertise, creating posters all along the Prime Path and eventually stopping in front of the prison, this time joined with Foolish. Bad Boy Halo happens to be on guard, not allowing the advertisement to be placed, so Foolish comes up with a clever plan. He distracts Bad by wearing a creeper head and pretending to be Sam while the others build the ad. And to Bad Boy Halo's surprise, when he tries to mine it, he can't, because of the mining fatigue surrounding the prison. So it's safe to say that advertisement won't really be going anywhere. In the end, the advertisements didn't really work as planned. Sure, some people visited, feeding the Dream SMP clip accounts, but no one officially joined, so Karl had to take advantage of all the guests in the server, starting off with Corpse and Little Nas X. During their visit, Karl quickly tours them around the main area and rushes them to Konoko Kingdom as fast as he can, inviting both of them to join. At first, Little Nas denies, insisting he wants to live in a jungle biome across the server, but Karl, in a time of desperation, decides to build him a treehouse as a replacement, even placing a work of art inside to assure that he will love it. And in the end, Corpse and Little Nas both join, but it's tough to say if it counts, considering they haven't really been active in a while. This situation also applies for other guests, Pokimane and Drista. During Pokimane's visit, Karl gave her the role of the ambassador of Konoko Kingdom. And she helped build a recreation of Party Island, so she without a doubt has a role somewhere, but it's tough to say considering her total amount of server time is around 1 hour. With Drista, it gets even worse. She was given the role of the High Judge, with the responsibility of charging people for their crime, and she was given ownership of Party Island, but she's only ever been to Kanoko Kingdom once on her time in the server for only 10 minutes, so it's up for debate if she actually has an official spot. Side note, the wiki surprisingly said only Drista and Pokimane are the not founder members of the nation, so Little Naz and Corpse are kinda just doing their own thing. On a more positive note, the nation actually has many allies. When you look around, it becomes increasingly clear that the builds weren't exactly made by the founding fathers. I mean, just look at their other builds. So this is where Foolish comes in. He noticed after a while the Kanoko Kingdom had been abandoned by its owners, so he decided to take it into his own hands. The most infamous build, the Mushroom Tower, was actually built by him off-stream, and the others were built live, including the houses, the dragon statue, the castle, and the best one, the Muppet. And when Carl logged on for the first time on a blue moon, he loved it. So it's safe to say Foolish is now the official builder for the kingdom. Though, during Foolish's terraforming stream, he repeatedly dug down to Nihachu's underground base, which had actually become a huge conflict for the nation. Before the building of Kanoko Kingdom, Nihachu had already had an underground base directly below the kingdom. And even though she's fine with the new build, Carl is desperate for her to join. He actually wrote a letter addressed to her as an invitation to join, but she denied it. And though these two nations may seem fine now, it's a perfect opportunity for lore, so I doubt the peace will last for very long. My prediction is that Carl will want an underground base of some sort, and this will start a huge conflict between them, possibly even leading to another war on the server.